Hi there guys, Stuart here from Marshall Music, and as part of the Stu Chats with series, we've got we're calling it the lockdown sessions, where we're going to get nice people like this to talk about things. We're going to talk about how the lockdown has affected this fine-looking man and what he's been up to, and just in general, let's just talk music.
Oh.
We've got. Well, let me introduce him
first.
Okay,
I should get introduced here.
You introduce yourself.
Hi there guys, my name is Graeme Watkins and I'm with one of my favorite human beings on planet Earth. And I tell you what, if lockdown has taught me anything, is to appreciate people like this, because you don't get to see it. I didn't get to see you for such a long period of time. How are you, Stu?
I'm good. Thank you for that beautiful introduction of yourself.
It was my absolute pleasure. Pleasure, bud.
So, okay, well, let's get the horrible stuff out the way. Yeah, the whole Corona thing.
Yeah.
How's it been for you personally?
Yeah, obviously.
And for your music and for your company.
Yeah, I mean, okay, well, obviously it's been immensely difficult. I think from somebody who's in the music industry, who does it as a profession, it's been incredibly difficult and debilitating. Thankfully, a lot of the respective financing companies like the banks and stuff like that have kind of given us holiday periods, but those are now slowly but surely starting to come to an end. So that's a bit of a frightening thing. I know a lot of friends of mine who are in the music industry have sunk or are sinking. It's dire out there. And my heart really, really goes out to the people who actually busk outside of shopping centers. Yeah. That require that hand to mouth situation, whereas we at least have our social medias, we can busk online.
Lots of other avenues.
Avenues, and then obviously on the other hand as well, I'm part of the Marshall family. For those of the people that don't know, I'm on the event gear side of things, so we do the events, and that's obviously also taken a massive knock. You know, we were one of the.
No, it hasn't taken a knock. It's non-existent.
It's dead. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that we were actually the first sector, along with the travel sector, to be cut completely. I was as early as around about February, because social media, because it had started escalating overseas in Italy, and then sort of it just started rising in the States, people started pulling events early already and saying, look, we're going to postpone it. And then of course lockdown happened. So we've effectively been in lockdown a hell of a lot longer than everybody else have.
Yeah. And we'll be in lockdown longer than most people.
We're going to be the first to cut, and we're going to be the last to be reinstated. And I think when people realize that and wrap their heads around that, I think they can then realize the gravity of the situation and how scary it actually is. But something that I want to say to people, and a lot of people go, you know, you kind of feel like when you've got the busker code up there and you're playing online and you're on Facebook, and you feel a bit like you're begging. But I just want to say to people that don't see it like that, because you supported us in the beforehand. And hopefully you can still support us. You might not be able to see us in person, but we also have families to feed. And you must understand something as well, is that you're watching Netflix, you're playing your cell phone games, you're getting put on hold. There's music and all of that. There's music accompanying all of those things. Somebody went and wrote that. So you're still consuming music.
All forms of art.
All forms of art. You know, your actors, your staging guys, your lighting technicians, your oh man, the list goes on and on and on. Your directors, your stagehands, your theatre owners, the clubs. No one's got a source of income. No one's got a source of revenue. So I think from that perspective, I know everyone's going through hardship and everyone's having to deal with a tough time, and I totally respect that. But there are certain sectors that are effectively being crippled, and I don't know whether the South African music industry's got another month left in it. I think that's an honest assumption.
Yeah. I mean, it's surviving on tenterhooks as is. So,
No, it's absolute fumes at the moment. You know.
So listen to this man. Please support those online streaming gigs that you're seeing on Facebook. Please support it with as much as.
I mean, put it in perspective. You know, you often scroll past and you see maybe 93 people watching, or 120 people, or even 12 people. If those people just gave $20, that's a meal for that guy's family that he can try and make last. You know, their bonds to pay, their car, their motor finance. People are also under the impression that people within the music industry all live these lavish rock star lives, and that we have this bottomless well of, we're like Scrooge McDuck, and we swim in our vaults. Unless in South Africa that's not the case. It's a grind every day. You're sure there are certain bands that are maybe in the
0.1% of the bands are living like that.
Exactly. The other guys are making an honest living, and it is an honest living, and it's a hell of a hard living. You know, you're in the game. You know, so these people really are at the in dire straits. You know,
So. Tell us what you've been up to personally in the lockdown.
Look, in as much as lockdown's been a very negative thing for all of us, it's also been a very positive thing because creative people are creative and they find ways of manufacturing some sort of income in crazy times like these. So what we've done as Marshall Event Gear, we've started a little platform called MTL, Marshall Takeover Lounge, or the Marshall Takeover Lounge. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter and all those jazz. And we're giving musicians an opportunity to come and play. They got their little busker coat up there, and we chat about songwriting, we song about bands. We just celebrate creative people and their music and so on and so forth, as well as comedians and trying to make light of a otherwise pretty crappy situation.
Good.
But also been writing songs, been doing a lot of that. Shot a little lockdown video for one of my new songs called Sober, which ironically just happens to be sober. And I know the whole alcohol ban thing, and everyone's like, even my own sister's phoning me and going, is everything okay about that at home, So, but everything is fine. It's just, I think creatives now are really, are also afforded the time to really sit back and truly create.
Because aren't you learning to play piano?
I'm learning to play piano, and I'm getting to that point now where I'm not having to
chopsticks.
Stick now. I'm upgraded now. Okay, yes, okay. I can now play both parts of chopsticks, which is great with the right and the left independently.
Wow.
Yeah, I can do that now. No, I'm not joking. No, I'm joking.
He's actually pretty good. He's a natural.
Yeah. So I've been doing that as well. But I think as well, the part of being a musician in this country, or part of being an artist in this country, it's 20% creating and then 80% hustling to get that creation out and get as much exposure as possible. I think now we're all being forced to create, and we're applying ourselves a lot more. There's a lot more time to do that. We can embellish a little bit more. So I think from that perspective, it's been great. And also we live out of suitcases for majority of the year. We're traveling a lot. So to spend extended periods of time with the family has been wonderful. It's been really great. I've got to put my kids to bed every single night, which I haven't often been able to do, except for tonight because I'm with you, which is it doesn't really matter. I'm with you.
Will you put me to bed?
I'll put you to bed. It's going to be awkward but beautiful. Okay.
Thank you.
I'll read you a story. I'll do really great impersonations for my kids when I read.
It's
cool. I'll fill in the blanks. Okay. So I think from that perspective, from a family perspective, it's been really great. So.
Can I join your family?
You can. I often say to myself, why don't I
don't have a family?
I want to adopt you so badly.
Well, better come 2 cats.
Deal. What a small price to pay to have such a nice person in the life.
Call him Daddy.
And I'll have to call you Daddy as well, but that's he's a bit taller than me, so that kind of works.
Longer.
Yeah, and longer, but only in height.
No. Sorry, we'll cut that.
No, we won't. No, we'll leave that in. Leave that in. Do
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No. What I think is so great now as well is that I don't know if you're finding this, but I'm finding myself reconnecting with people that I haven't spoken to for ages.
Yeah.
Even though it's over a Zoom call or a Skype call, whatever it is, I'm reconnecting and everyone's having a same story, and there's an element of tragedy, and there's also an element of kind of like optimism and hope, and at the end of this tunnel there is a light. I see it already. It's a dull glow, but it is a light.
Okay, that's nice to hear.
There is a light. There is a light, and I think if we can just navigate these waters now, we're going to find ourselves on a luscious island.
And at the end of the day. I hope you're right, and I think that it has made a lot of people stronger. And wiser.
Sure.
And more. Just more street smart.
Completely. And you know what as well? Before COVID, there was a bit of a dip in the live scene. Corporates were really the things that were sustaining the music industry. And I think there's going to be a resurgence of people wanting to go to live venues.
100%.
Even if they experience it on a sort of a food lovers market type thing where you can walk around the stores, not food lovers market, a market type thing.
Yeah.
Where you walk around the stalls and then there's a little guy playing there.
Yeah.
There's going to be that. There's going to be a lot more of that. And I think,
which is great.
Which is so great.
It's better than just dingy nightclubs and bars.
Exactly. And then when we do have a slightly bigger function of like 50 people, or then it becomes 300 people, and we sanitize correctly, and if we're forced to wear these and enjoy music, fine.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's okay, because I got to listen to a band the other day for the first time in a long time, and that feeling, man, you can't recreate that unless you're there. Yeah. It's a tactile, tangible thing. Yeah, man.
No, good.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, I'm glad to hear you're positive about the whole.
Yeah, certainly. You have to
lockdown thing. I think that they just need to maybe, I think the music scene will definitely become better when they sort of unban alcohol. But they're talking. They're talking about it happening now in little batches where they're going to start legalizing beer and wine. Yeah.
And then doing spirits.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And look, quite honestly, if you want to go to a pub generates a lot of revenue for artists because they play at they have their little circuit that they play around as well.
Yeah.
But another thing that lockdown's going to do, which I think is amazing, it's going to give rise to, it was already there, it was festering, but now it's really going to solidify the bedroom musician, the bedroom producer.
Yes.
That guy that writes his songs, he's a jack of all trades, he kind of writes everything, albeit in a MIDI format, or you send it to your mate across the way there.
Yeah.
It's going to give a whole new genre
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because we've seen a massive spike in studio sales.
I have no doubt.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So just all the more better for creative souls to get their music.
And I think it's going to grow even more now. It's going to you're going to see guys are going to start. That's the way they're going to do it. They might go to a recording studio to maybe finish vocals, or find clever ways to do their vocals. I know that the Chaos Ball or the Chaotica, whatever it is, that thing works fantastic. I've got one of those and it works a treat. I recorded my last track, Sober, the acoustic version, in the back of a red van. The big one that's parked outside. I did it in there.
That sounds like it would work, yeah.
It works like a treat. Yeah. So guys are realizing now that, like most things, you don't necessarily need a big, massive recording studio. You just need a good space that's treated well.
Yeah, and technology is so
good at the moment. Yeah. And I'm quite interested because the Prohibition, right, which we're living in very similar times, gave birth to that jazzy, sort of that swing style, that kind of... it was a little bit like that's how they spread goodwill and the kind of gospel, in a sense, was you sat by your radio and that's how you got positivity and information. Right. And I think that we're going to have a new type of music come out of this that's going to do a very similar thing. And I'm very excited because I think in 2 years' time, we're going to see a whole new crop of muso pop up.
You're right. I've never thought about that. You're right.
And they're seedlings now, but they're going to become fully fledged.
Yeah, could be new, major new artists popping out from nowhere.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
You touched on songwriting just now.
Yes.
We were speaking off camera about songwriting in general, but I'd like to get. I kind of asked this to a lot of people, and I really respect you as a songwriter. Yeah. What is your songwriting process?
Yeah.
How do you go about crafting a song?
So generally, I love groove. I love rhythm and bass. I think those two things for me, if it's got a lot of movement in it, then it makes me feel a certain way. So that's why a lot of GWP's stuff is very groove driven. Okay. But generally when I start, I'll start with, like most things, maybe a guitar line or a piano line. And then what I tend to do, I go into Logic and then I kind of grow the song and I produce the song as I go.
Okay.
And then if the song makes me feel a certain way, I know it's quite an esoteric thing, but if I close my eyes and I get a certain feel of it, melody comes very quickly to me and lyrics come very quickly to me. So then I bust this, like kind of busk over this thing and record it and listen back and go, I like that section, like that part. And they kind of build from there.
You'll just sing random melody words?
I'll sing random melody words. Like for example, like the track that I'm doing now, it's called Portobello Road. It's my next single. And the opening line is, I'm getting myself in trouble. But when I originally did it, it was, what's it? Oh, my Coke Zero's got bubbles.
Okay.
Because I had a Coke Zero next to me at the time. I was like, Coke Zero's got the bubbles. And I was just looking at the thing and singing it, and that line stuck. And then I'd get and that caused the rest of the song to happen. Just that getting myself in trouble, that gave birth to the whole thing. So, I never write my lyrics first. I rarely ever do that. And my lyrics and my melody are always together. They become part of, because
do you often so it's not like you have to change the words to fit the melody. You kind of just do it all. It's all just kind of in one.
Yeah, and I sometimes give quite a percussive nature to my lyrics as well. Right. That kind of fall on certain beats, timing, even if it's on the ands and stuff like that. So it's very much it's that real sort of like. Again, I love groove, I love feel, but then melody is also very important for me. You were saying that the last thing you listen to are lyrics. The first thing I listen to are lyrics in a song.
That's the way it should be.
It picks me up. And I read somewhere the other day that if a song doesn't catch you in the first 30 seconds and it's not going to keep you, and it's got no hook.
It's not going to work.
I like hooks. Hooks come quickly to me, even though sometimes seemingly by complete accident. I was telling you earlier about, this, like one of our songs, we had a key change in the chorus, and it was an accident. It was a complete accident because I dropped the MIDI by mistake and I didn't know where it was, and I just kind of left it and then carried it on. And everyone hailed me as a genius, and it was a complete mistake. So sometimes mistakes are great. And I think for young songwriters out there, I think, as soon as you start writing for other people, it becomes a little bit detrimental to your own process.
Yeah.
But if if I write music, it makes me feel good and I enjoy it. And I'm like, that's cool. Maybe other people will do it. And so far it's worked for me.
Okay. And then another thing that I asked you earlier is, let's talk about being a songwriter versus just being a musician and why. And I think just writing songs is so much more important, and you don't need to be a good musician to write a good song.
Yeah, so I mean, I can't read music at all. I play completely by ear. I'm limited to my skill level as a guitarist or as a pianist or as a bassist.
Yeah.
However, what I do well, and I think because I'm forced to be more creative in the way that I approach and package my 3 chords or 4 chords or 5 chords, whatever it is, it works in my favor. But then you were saying on the other side is that you get these learned musos that are technically flawless, but they can't write a pop melody, or they can't write a melody, or they find it hard to write a hit song. That's the age-old thing, when does, like we talked about Jacob Collier, I'm pretty sure that guy sees music like the Matrix. It's all binary code. Yeah. he sees it, feels it. Mozart his mum used to get him out of bed in the morning. She used to go do 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 and walk away, and he would have to run out and go do
and finish it.
And he had to finish it. So I'm pretty sure that Jacob's like that, because he's the second coming of Mozart. He really is. He is cognitively, I think, a musician to be reckoned with. Yeah. And that's why his music is a little bit disjointed as well, because I think he's playing with so many elements to it. Whereas if you force him to do a pop song in that classic pop structure.
I would love someone to say to Jacob Collier, can you write a 3-chord pop song for us?
And he'd probably write you mathematically the perfect pop song.
The perfect song.
He probably would. Who knows? But I mean.
But I think the point that I want to make to you, do you agree with me, is that I think writing a good, simple, let's say 3-chord song is so much more important than learning all your music theory and all your and all that, which is often wasted junk. I think being able to write a song is so much more important, and people don't concentrate on that. Do you know
what's important though, is that if you have somebody who's like a hopeless creative like myself, who will go in and bring you a body of work that's a little bit like, the feathers coming out of the hat and it's a bit disjointed, and then you get somebody like yourself who's more technical, you can refine that and you can shape it, and through the theory you can make it even better, you can improve it. And I think that's where musos the Graeme Watkins Project, Reno, Matt, Rudo, Now Chart, all of them, monster musos, and all learned musos. And I think my craziness and their technicalities made that project as special as it was. So I do think that, yes, being a good songwriter is important, certainly. but don't discredit being somebody who can be a good technical partner to somebody who's a little bit maybe lacking in the musical side of things. From my perspective, you know, that's why I think if we sat and wrote a song together, I think the result would be a lot better than if we wrote them separately.
Can we sing it as a love duo?
It would be beautiful, but we can never break eye contact, because if you break eye contact, the chemistry dies.
Deal.
Okay. Deal.
When can we do it?
Tomorrow evening.
Let's go now.
Okay. Let's go.
No.
Oh yeah.
Now tell me. So what are some of your plans for post lockdown?
Yeah. Look.
What are you going to be up to?
I think post lockdown, I think every musician is going to try his best to get back on the stage, to jam again, just to play. I think just to play and just to sing and just to have a crowd in front of you.
We miss it.
Oh, I miss it so much. There's only so much I can sing to my kids before they go, Dad, please stop. Yeah. I play piano sometimes. I'm like, Dad, you playing that song again? I'm like, I'm practicing, guys. But yeah, so I want an appreciating audience, not like my 4-year-old who's so honest and goes, Dad, it doesn't sound right. Yeah. Thanks, Leo. Yeah. So I think that's what I'm most excited for. But I'm also really excited for humanity as a whole, just to find themselves again and get back to some normalcy and not have to wear these, or maybe wear ones that doesn't feel like you're being asphyxiated by a really weak person all day. Somebody please invent a nice mask. Anyone out there.
I love your mask.
Thank you. It is great. It's from
4 guys.
It's from
what's it from?
A Fusion Emporium. I got it from it's really, really great.
I love it.
Yeah. There's the coffin, the dancing pallbearers. Yes. But and I think what really excites me about it is just being able to go and watch other art forms as well.
Yeah.
Watch theatre again.
Yeah.
I used to love going to the theatre.
Yeah.
I actually
love
come
the
from
ballet.
and the ballet.
Classical
exactly.
music. Yeah.
And your heart's got to go out to those people. And anybody out there that's suffering at the moment, I think wherever you are, just remain optimistic. Know that you're loved, and just try and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It can only get better. It can only get better. Yeah. And I think we're all going to just make a shift in our lives. I don't think it's going to go back to the way that it was, but I don't think it's going to be worse than it is now.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so too.
Cool. Well, that's all we have time for.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. All the best to you and your family.
Thank
Really
you.
lovely to see you.
What a pleasure.
I won't hug you.
No.
Although I really want to.
I would like to hug you back as well.
Let's do a virtual hug. Close your eyes.
Okay. You're going to try and kiss me. Oh, and don't forget that you can buy the coupons as well.
Yes, tell us about that.
That's so important. Yeah, so you can buy a coupon to help feed an artist's family, and I think that's incredibly important. And I think if you have the disposable income to be able to do that, hell, man.
Cool. We'll put all those links in the description below.
Yeah. And so we can contact through Marshall, and it'll be great. And do your bit. Do your bit. If you can come in and buy a guitar, maybe buy a guitar and donate a percentage of it. Donate 10% of your guitar to feed a hungry artist. That's my challenge to you. How does that sound?
I like that challenge.
I like that too.
Thank you.
And while you're at it, buy me a new guitar, wherever you are, a rich lawyer.
Do it.
Thank
you, Graeme Watkins. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
A business doing pleasure with you, my friend. Cheers.
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 Thank you, guys. Adios for now. We'll see you next time.